Meeting called to order. Councilmember Bez Anderson.
Here.
Councilmember Chapman is absent tonight. Councilmember Clayton.
Here.
Deputy Mayor Quinn.
Here.
And Mayor Moore.
Here.
Please stand for a silent prayer, moment of reflection. We'll now salute the flag. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
As complied with the Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, PL 1975, adequate notice of this meeting has been provided in the following manner. The annual notice was forwarded to the Asbury Park Press, the Coaster, and the Star Ledger on January 15, 2026, and posted on the bulletin board the same date. All notices are on file with the city clerk. We're now on special event applications from Recreation Director Alicia Floyd.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. There are 5 applications before you and 5 wedding applications. All of these special event applications are returning events. Are there any questions?
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. We're now on to matters from the City Council. First up, Councilmember Bez Anderson.
Nothing from me.
Thank you. Councilmember Clayton.
Nothing at this time, thank you.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor Quinn.
Yes, I want to thank a few people for this weekend. I'm glad there's so many people here to hear this. So Asbury Park is the only municipality in Monmouth County that has 2 code blues. What that means is we house people who are unhoused during storms. We house them in 2 places, Trinity. So I want to give a huge shout out to Father Chase. And the second one is Mercy Center. I want to give a shout out to Kim Guadano, if you just want to stand. There are 53 municipalities in Monmouth County. Of the 53, about 5, and we're 2, because we do it twice, are the only ones that do Code Blue. And the reason that that was really important this weekend, because Code Blue goes from about 7 p.m. to about 6 a.m. But people need someplace to go during the day when there's a blizzard. And so I want to thank our fire department for picking everybody up, putting them in the transportation center, and putting the heat on. So thank you to our fire department. And I really hope towns in Monmouth County start to step up their Code Blue and start picking up, so Asbury doesn't have to have 2, and some towns could just have 1, because most towns have none. So I want to thank our fire department, Trinity, and Mercy Center for really, really coming through this weekend.
Thank you. Mayor Moore.
No, Amy, good job. I wish some of the towns would step up also and stop bringing people to Asbury Park, because that's what's happening. These other towns are having their police departments bring everybody to Asbury Park. It's totally wrong that no other town in this county gives a darn about people that are homeless and need shelter. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to matters from the City Manager.
Hi, good evening. Nothing to report. Thank you.
Thank you. And matters from the City Attorney.
Yes, I'd just like to make an announcement for the benefit of the public. There has been a resolution added to the agenda tonight. It's Resolution 2026-105. This is related to, I'm sure people have read reports about the casino and the breezeway, and the proposal by Madison Asbury Retail for potential demolition. This resolution will authorize the city's redevelopment council, who's Joe Mariziti, sitting right here in the front row, to take action, including the issuance of notices of default to Madison because of this proposed demolition. And I just want to read one part of it. It'll authorize the mayor of the city, his designees, and city staff, professionals, and consultants on behalf of the city to take all necessary and appropriate actions to implement this resolution, and authorize to take such further actions as may be necessary or appropriate to protect and advance the rights and remedies of the city. Because the actions that have been taken by Madison Marquette have raised significant potential for litigation, I have directed, as I always do in matters involving litigation, the mayor and council not to comment on what's going to be happening. Anyone here is free to make any comment you want about it. That's what the public hearing will be for. And if there are questions that I can answer or Joe Marizzi, our redevelopment counsel, can answer, we'll try to do so. We're going to be somewhat circumspect as well in our answers because we don't want to impair the rights of the city and the position of the city in any potential litigation going forward. So I just want to let everybody know that up front before we get to the public comment period after the presentation tonight. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. We're now moving on to a presentation by APW Redeveloper LLC for redevelopment of Block 3803, Lot 1, and part of Block 4503, Lot 1, 200 Cookman Avenue and 100 Asbury Avenue.
See if that comes up. I'll start while we're getting the AV working. Good evening, Mayor and Council. For the record, my name is Jennifer Phillips Smith, and I'm an attorney with FBT Gibbons. And we are here tonight on behalf of the applicant APW Redeveloper. APW is an affiliate of the master developer, and that is Asbury Partners. And we are here concerning an application that will ultimately be for both subdivision and site plan approval before the planning board for the construction of a single multifamily building with a proposed 36 for-sale units. The building is to be located on Block 3803, Lot 1, and a small portion to be subdivided from Block 4503, Lot 1. Before we get into the presentation, and as we're setting up, I want to be clear about what this is not. This application involves the redevelopment of what is currently a surface parking lot. This does not involve the demolition of any buildings or any structures whatsoever. You will hear us say the word carousel because the building is proposed to be named Carousel, or maybe named Carousel, but just so for the public is clear, it has nothing to do with the historic building on the site, and nothing is being demolished as part of this application. What it is proposed is just the redevelopment of a portion of what is now a surface parking lot. So as we get in, this is one step in the process. I know the council's well aware, but I know we have a crowd tonight. So just to explain kind of where we are. Any project within the waterfront redevelopment area goes before the TRC. That we did for this project. We were there twice. We presented this application, and the TRC had pretty significant comments about the aesthetic of the building, which we addressed with changes to the design of the exterior, which you will hear tonight. And we actually brought those changes back to the TRC as well. Now we're here at the council to make this presentation. Ultimately, the council will decide if this may progress to the planning board by adopting a subsequent developer agreement. But my understanding is that action will not be occurring tonight. It's just a presentation this evening. Once there's a subsequent developer agreement in place, we would then proceed to the planning board where there will be another public hearing. So as we get into that, just to kind of explain where we are in the process, I have two presenters here this evening. We'll be doing civil engineering first, and then we'll transition to the architecture. So with that, I would ask Lena to please introduce herself to everyone and then begin just going over the general layout of the proposed project.
Good evening. My name is Lena Balorda-Barone. I'm a senior project manager at French and Perello Associates, and I'm the civil engineer for this project. Actually, Michael, if you could maybe pull up the minor subdivision first. As Jennifer mentioned, we're here for both a subdivision application and a site plan application. Currently, there is a parking lot on Block 3803, Lot 1, and Block 4503, Lot 1. What we're proposing to do is to essentially move the lot line between those two properties, move it by approximately 0.16 acres, so that Block 3803 will become slightly larger, and Block 4503 will become slightly smaller. This will allow the future development of the property, as you will hear me talk about.
Go ahead.
I also want to note that the current property has two easements on it. There is a easement immediately adjacent to Wesley Lake, which is an easement that's 35.5 feet wide, and that's an access and utility easement to the city of Asbury Park. And then adjacent to that easement is a 25-foot wide vehicular access easement. Both those easements would remain in the proposed condition, so even after the subdivision, they would continue to be maintained. So the property fronts Wesley Lake, and in elevation, it goes up towards Cookman Avenue. It varies from approximately elevation 6.5 to 9, and is also located in a flood hazard area. So that is what informed our future site design and how the proposed building and development is oriented. After the subdivision, both properties will comply with the bulk requirements, so there are no variances sought for the subdivision. Should I go into the site plan at this point?
That's perfect, thank you.
Okay. So, as I mentioned, the site slopes towards the Wesley Lake, and it is located in a floodplain. Based on the NJDP rules, you use the FEMA map and then you add another 3 feet on top of that, which sets up the elevation, the flood hazard area of 13. The DP also requires us to put our vehicular access as far in height as possible. So that happens to be at the corner of Wesley Lake and Cookman Avenue. So in considering the flood hazard elevation as well as traffic safety and access, that is where we placed the vehicular access drive, which is the furthest north on Wesley Lake Avenue. From that point on, we designed the building such that the parking areas will be elevated 1 foot above the flood hazard area, and then the residential floors above are even further elevated to be further protected. As was mentioned earlier, this has 36 residential units. Based on the ordinance, we would be required to provide 54 parking spaces. We are providing 58 parking spaces within the garage. So all our parking is internal of the building. Where that vehicular access easement is that I just described, we are proposing to maintain the easement but block the access with bollards so that the public just can't drive through it, but the bollards would be removable if the city wanted to remove it in the future.
And that was recommended specifically by the TRC, to not have free-flowing vehicular access through that point.
Right. So we have also submitted to the NJDP for the CAFRA compliance review back in June of last year, and the review is pending. The project was designed to conform with the stormwater management regulations as well as the flood hazard regulations. We have also worked on the plans to prepare a comprehensive landscape package that was further supplemented after the comments from the TRC. We have designed a lighting plan that will comply with the streetscape requirements of the redevelopment plan along the city streets. And we're also proposing to upgrade the fixtures in the parking lot to remain. Those would be just temporary fixtures, but they would be improved as well. All utilities will be connected to the existing city utilities.
All right. So keeping in mind the site constraints that we had, the easements that are in place and the flood hazard, the building has been designed to comply with that. And now I'll turn it over to Michael Lawson, who could show the exterior of the building, kind of the hard work that has gone into the aesthetics of the building at the request of the TRC.
Thank you so much. My name is Michael Lawson. I'm a principal architect at Minot and Wasco Architects and Planners, and I'm so happy to be here to present this project to you. So as Lena and Jennifer have discussed, this is a project that is on the existing parking lot at the Carousel site. And you'll see that we are naming it Carousel, so you'll see that on many of our drawings. As we go, I'm just reorienting everybody to kind of where we were located on the site, as Lena had described. We have Wesley Lake planned south here. We have Wesley Lake Road, which is the access point and essentially our main frontage. And then we have Cookman, which we have located a secondary main entrance on there to activate that streetscape as much as possible, because that is one of your main streets through Asbury Park. You'll notice that also we have stepped the building in different ways to conform with the redevelopment plan, the waterfront redevelopment plan. And we have a 5-story building, but in certain portions of the site, it's only 1 story, where we're stepping the building above the parking that's located on the ground floor. You'll see that in some of the elevations and the renderings that we'll share with you in the next few minutes. Some of the other features that you can see here is that we have a rather wide landscaped front yard with a gracious setback here that allows for really some great landscaping and some buffering along Wesley Lake Road, as well as we have private terraces in different locations, as well as a rooftop terrace that will be for all the tenants of the building. I'm just going to reorient everybody here. Wesley Lake is now on this side of the sheet. Wesley Lake Road is above us, and Cookman is along this side. And this, I'm just showing you what the ground floor plans look like. As I described before, we have this landscaping area in that front yard. We have a ramp that takes us up to the front lobby space with stairs as well, really creating a nice entry procession into the building. Once you get into the building, we have a small lobby space and an elevator that takes you up to the higher portions of the building. As we discussed previously, we do have 58 total parking spaces. Every single unit does get a specific parking space in here. Some of them do have tandems. They operate just like a driveway would on a residential street. But each of these tandem parking spaces would be dedicated to a single unit. So that you don't have issues with people having to move or anything like that. We think that that works rather nicely for this project. As I described before, we have that secondary entrance, main entrance to the building off of Cookman, because we do think that we need to activate that streetscape as much as possible. And we have some really great landscaping, as well as all of the brickwork and streetscape features that are required of us in the redevelopment plan. As we go up the building, this is where we step the building, and you can see how we visually created all of these rooftop terraces above that parking podium. Here you have, for each of these units, you have a rooftop terrace on here with great views, and it almost acts like a backyard for some of these units. In the building, we have 36 units, as Lena described. 4 of them are 1-bedrooms, and 32 of them are 2-bedroom units. As we go up the building stacks. So you have same residential building, residential units on each floor. We have balconies in certain locations. If I go back, balconies in certain locations on either side of the building for each of the residential units as well, that are great amenities for these tenants that will be living here. As we get up to the top floor here, this is where we have our rooftop terrace and rooftop amenity. We worked diligently with the TRC to make some modifications here to buffer different areas from the mechanical areas that would be required for the condenser units on the top floor. The condenser units will be screened by the parapet walls and will be centered in the middle of the building, so you won't be able to see them. But we did want to make sure that we had some plantings, and we pushed some of the seating further away from that to mitigate any sound that might be heard. And that was something that we discussed with the TRC. So as part of the presentation to the TRC, we looked at what are some of the buildings and the aesthetics that we wanted to pull from to create an architecture for this site that might be slightly different than some of the other townhomes and condo buildings that are in its immediate vicinity. And what we looked at was some of the buildings that are in Asbury Park that have the red brick and are more of this industrial feel. They have large windows. They have a really great aesthetic with how they're combining materials in terms of the red brick, but also maybe some lapboard siding and those kinds of things that really creates a cohesive and nice palette of materials. From there, we really dissected this and tried to implement materials that were consistent with that vision. And that includes brick veneer, a combination of 2 colors of whether it's fiber cement siding or board and batten siding. One is an Arctic white, another one is cobblestone, and then another one that's timber bark. Each one of those is in the beige family and is not any grays. We understand, the aesthetic. We want it to be a warmer palette of materials. We also looked at incorporating a copper metallic metal roof in certain areas to kind of give presence and look at what the carousel was. You know, yes, that has a patined metal roof, but in its very original state, it was then a copper metallic color. And we are looking to do that color. It won't be actual copper, but it will be the color of copper, which we think is a good kind of saying, hey, we're right next to the carousel, we're right next to that property, and we want to make sure that we're paying tribute to it in some way. So this is then the building that we are proposing. This is looking at the corner of Cookman and Wesley Lake Drive. Here you can see the different materials that we're using. We are using that red brick at the base of the building, and then we transition to board and batten at the corners, as well as lap siding in other locations. We do have certain architectural elements that create a sense of scale on the site and break down the building. We worked with the TRC and with your professionals to make several modifications here in terms of the brick piers, the locations of where we're stepping up the brick on the building, but also, you know, the materials and the palette of colors as well. That was something that we worked very diligently with the TRC on. You can see that these are the entrances to the building, the one on Wesley Lake Drive on this side, and then the one on Cookman on this side with a great presence on both of those streets. Here is looking from the walkway along Wesley Lake. Here you can see the stepping of the building going from 1 story to 5 stories, which we believe is compliant with the redevelopment plan. You can see how we have a nice rhythm of piers and openings at that base and brick base of the building, and you can see the terraces that are located on top of that parking podium. You can also see the large setback that we have on Wesley Lake Drive with the nice landscaping and manicured landscaping in that location. This is then the image looking from Cookman, and you can see here we still have that stepping going from 1 story to 5 stories, and we have that entry along Cookman to give the building presence along that street. All the materials wrap around the entire building and are high quality on each of the different facades because we do feel as though this building will be viewed from each vicinity. So the one thing that I did want to just discuss, which is something that we know Asbury Park is very diligent on, and it's something that you guys look into, is the sustainability features that are incorporated within the building. The building has several different areas that we are hitting those sustainability features, and I'll just go through very quickly some of those things because I know that that's important to the city. So this is a redeveloped area. It sits on a vacant parking lot currently right now. It is transit oriented. We are providing 10 bicycles in the base of the building for bicycle facilities. We are providing electrical charging stations as is required by us for the tenants. We have 15% of our required parking will have EV chargers. We are reducing light pollution by making this project dark sky compliant. We are providing environmentally favorable materials when feasible. We are constructing and creating demolition waste management practices that will reduce by 75%. We are using low emitting interior materials. We have a smoke-free environment. We have low flow fixtures and low E coatings for the windows. We have high standards of insulation. We have individually controlled HVACs and programmable thermostats. We allow for unit daylighting, allowing light and air into the units and not creating overly deep units in the floor plan. And we are providing Energy Star fixtures and light fixtures that are 100% LED. So this hits a lot of the sustainable features and we are providing that we will be up to the level of LEED Silver, but we won't be getting certified as is required by the city. I think that hits on most of the different things.
It does.
Actually, one other thing. We did receive the memo from the Technical Review Committee. We didn't see any issues with the things that were incorporated in there, the notes at the end. And many of those things have been actually incorporated already into the presentation tonight. So thank you.
Thank you. Now, I do not have anything further for either of the presenters, but if the council has any questions, obviously we're here to answer them.
Okay, I have one question to start off with. 36 units, 4 one-bedroom, 32 two bedrooms. Most of the units will have dens. Will the dens have windows? Because dens becomes bedrooms, and I'm not a big fan of bedrooms without windows.
So the dens are located, and we can look at that in the plans right here. The dens are located in the rear of many of these units, and they do not have closets, and they do have a door on them, but they are not supposed to be used for bedrooms.
Do they have windows?
They do not have windows.
Thank you. That's a problem, and I know it's going to be a problem with the planning board with past things, just because, right, they're not supposed to become bedrooms, but they do become bedrooms. And again, I'm not a fan of bedrooms without windows for many reasons.
We understand that there might be some ways that we figure that out in how we restrict the actual tenants or the deeds and those kinds of things. So we've worked with the city in the past on that, so we'll work with you again.
Okay, thank you.
I'm gonna, Jen, beat the same drum with lending itself to some sort of sculpture or mural or engaging some sort of local artist to do some sort of art on the building.
Thank you.
Any other questions? I think you covered everything.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council.
You can stay here if you want, because some of the questions may be directed to you when we start the public session. And Kevin, a lot of people did walk in after you made your opening statements as far as what we're going to do tonight, how we're going to conduct the meeting, and how we have to conduct the meeting, unfortunately. So if you could repeat both, I'd appreciate it.
Sure. For those who came in late, there is a resolution that was added to the agenda today. The copy of it is over at the table. This resolution is related to the proposal by Madison Marquette to potentially demolish the breezeway or casino. What this resolution will do when it's adopted by the council, it will authorize the city's redevelopment council, Mr. Joe Marizini sitting here in the front row, to issue notices of default to Madison and to, I'll read to this part, it will authorize the mayor, his designees, and staff, professionals, and consultants to take all necessary or appropriate actions to implement this resolution, and are authorized to take such further actions as may be necessary or appropriate to protect and advance the rights and remedies of the city. This is specifically related to the Madison Marquette project. Because I know many of you read about this and heard about this, because this action by Madison Marquette raises the significant potential for litigation. I've directed the mayor and council not to comment on the matter, because there could well be pending litigation. That doesn't mean that if you're restricted, you're all free to comment whatever way you like it at public session, public comment period. To the extent I can, I'll try to answer questions. Joe Marizini, our redevelopment council, will try to answer. We have to be somewhat circumspect as well because of this potential for litigation. Just want everybody to know that up front. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
We're now on to the public participation portion of the meeting. May I have a motion to open the meeting to the public?
Move to open.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Public participation portion of the meeting is now open. Any member of the public who wishes to speak, please use the microphone, and please state your name and address for the record. There will be a 3-minute time limit for each speaker.
Hi, everybody. My name's Caitlin Dabney. I've been in Asbury for about 20 years now. One of my biggest
We
concerns...
just need your address, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, 400 DLA Drive.
Thank you.
One of my biggest concerns with a lot of the redevelopment that's happening is none of the historical integrity is being maintained. A lot of these places look cookie cutter, and we're going to potentially lose a really important, beautiful part of our town. And it's a shame that Madison Marquette really hasn't been held accountable for maintaining buildings like that, and also Paramount. So my question to the board is, what are we doing to try to make sure that things that are coming into our town are maintaining the historical integrity and not just kind of getting whitewashed and looking like another, I don't know, built up shore town that doesn't really have any history? It's one of the things that has made Asbury Asbury and brought people to our area. And I feel like we're really losing that for condos. Like, we should be maintaining green space and putting parks in and dog parks and maybe putting things over here like little markets or things like that to kind of boost up the accessibility, not just for people buying multi-million-dollar condos. That doesn't really help everybody. I don't think something like this is going to be beneficial. It doesn't add value, in my opinion. There's another cookie cutter building going in that looks like another set of condos that is being built all over the east side. And if they want to build something like this, maybe redevelop the west side, add value over there, bring property values up over there. But that's just going to look like 2 blocks over in another set of condos. So please try to maintain our historical integrity in this town and not just have it washed away by something like this. I don't need more time. That's all I need to say.
Okay, I can answer part of that because it has nothing to do with Madison Marquette. This redevelopment plan was done in 2002. It's a legal binding document that cannot be unilaterally changed. Both parties would have to agree to change it. The good thing, and people don't realize this, and they're going to say, well, that's good more, or it's better than bad. The good thing is, like, the original plan called for 3,400 units. There's going to be built less than 2,000. So a lot of places where this lot, they could have gone 8 stories, they've gone smaller. So, and by right, we can't stop them. Legally, by right, we cannot stop them.
Can I reclaim my time?
You can ask one question.
If this was done in 2002, who's here and still alive to kind of rectify this and come represent people who signed that maybe need to readdress how the town has changed and what the needs are now versus what they were in 2002?
You're correct. Unfortunately, there was no parameters put into the agreement to time frame, bonds, anything like that. So we're stuck with an agreement none of us were here for.
For how long?
30 years. Yep. Okay, thank you again.
Hi, my name is Heather Fowler. I live at 1018 Fifth Avenue. Outside of what Kate had mentioned, which I think was very well put, in regards to this plan, I do see that you're going to be taking up a lot of the public parking that has been accessible. What are we going to do when half of that parking lot is gone? We have a very bad parking problem, especially by the ocean front. Are we just going to let it bleed into the neighborhoods that are already stressed for land space? You know, I do understand that we're going to be putting in, an easement so we can kind of like move some stuff around. Awesome, fantastic for you guys, not for me. But, not every single person is going to have that parking spot. People visiting are not going to have a parking spot. We just lost, do you have the numbers on how many parking spots are going to be taken up by this development?
I know. Yeah.
You should.
So, and I apologize because the way this is set up, my back.
No,
is to you.
that's fine.
Okay. So I will start by saying that there is an application currently pending before council that would allow for.
Okay, wait. I was going to answer that part.
Okay. Oh, okay.
She asked you a question, how many parking spots?
Okay. That I'll ask Lena to see if we can.
But is there also a plan for making up for that
That would be
parking?
answered.
Yeah. Mayor, if you want to, while Lena is counting, if you want to answer the first part.
So the master developer has 2 plans in front of us that haven't been presented yet.
Yeah.
One close to this north end and one close to the south end with 2 parking garages.
Mm-hmm.
So that is going to take over the on-level lots that never had to be built, but they built them because nothing was being built.
Yeah.
So to make up for that, they're proposing to build 2 parking lots.
Are those public parking lots?
Excuse me?
Are those public parking lots
They're
for
going to be
the
a
summer?
combination. They're going to be, I think the one on the south end is like, say, 300 and some spots and 208 are dedicated to the.
Okay,
public.
is this parking lot going to be publicly owned by the development company, or is this going to be owned by the city of Asbury Park or Madison Marquette?
Not by Madison Marquette, by the master developer or whoever they choose. Same as they are now.
Okay. So is this Asbury?
They're not run by the city now,
Okay. Well, that's what I'm just curious about.
right?
Thank you very much. And I hope that you guys make the right decision for the entire city.
Thank you.
Good evening. Bob Zuckerman, 600 Heck Street in Asbury Park. I came here originally tonight just to thank you for putting a resolution on the consent agenda that reappoints me to the planning board. I received a call from Barbara Kurzak, our esteemed chair, a couple weeks ago that there was some kind of snafu. And last year I was the first alternate, and I was supposed to be promoted, but instead I was demoted off the board completely. So I want to thank you all for your faith in me as a planning board member. And as a planning board member, I will not comment at all on the presentation we just saw, because that will obviously come before us. But I do want to take the opportunity tonight, because this has been in the news for the last 2 days, about the proposed demolition of the breezeway that Madison Marquette has undergone. And I just want to say that there's a lot of information that's floating out there, sort of in the ether, and I'm sure, I have no doubt that a lot of it is incorrect. And that's because there are opposing viewpoints that are being shared all over social media. So there is something that I'd like to suggest, and I understand from our city attorney that you up on the panel, the mayor, the council, have been instructed not to speak on the subject. But maybe we can get our council, our redevelopment council, to host some kind of town forum. When I was on the council up in South Orange several years ago, when we had a really hot button issue that everyone was interested in, I mean, you see the attendance tonight, we would host some kind of forum to explain what's going on, to explain our options, talk about the different options that the city has. And we could invite Madison Marquette to the forum. If they choose not to attend, that's on them. But, you know, I think that shedding sunlight on this issue for everyone in the community, I think, is really essentially important. And so I just want to throw that recommendation out there. Do with it as you please. And I'll just end with saying that just from a personal perspective, I'm completely against the demolition of this breezeway. It is an iconic structure that, yes, needs to be rehabilitated and restored, but with fronting the other side of the boardwalk with Convention Hall, it's iconic. It's what helps make Asbury Park, and we need to do everything we can to keep it.
Thank you, Bob, and we apologize for the snafu of not appointing you, and we wish that was the only snafu we were looking at. Let's not be shy.
Hi, I will go. I'm terrible at public speaking. I don't want to be here. I just learned about this literally. Oh, hey, hi. I'm Sean. I live on 400 3rd Avenue. I'm in the robot building. It's really cool to be able to identify a building because of some identifiable thing like that. I know you just described the carousel building as if you were going to do something unique. That looks just like every other building that I've seen. So I just want to throw that out there. I do not like how that looks. I don't want to be here. I don't want to be doing this. I just learned about this. I have been coming here my whole life. I've been living here for 3 years. This place fixed my relationship with art. I have a bachelor's of the fine art. Like, the only reason that I thrive here is because of the community here and because of all the people who live here. Jen, who I don't see here, is a heavy user of the carousel building. There's so much art there. It's just such an active community, and I just love everything about this place. I cannot stand seeing what has become of it in the last 3 years. Just in the 3-year window that I have lived here, I have seen this place change in what feels like historic ways. I've gotten to know people who have lived here their whole lives. I've gotten to hear their tales on how this place has changed over the last multiple decades. And in the sense, as you guys had mentioned before, the people who are here when this decision was made with what Madison Marquette, is that what their name is? Mm-hmm. None of them are here. So we're all dealing with something that we had nothing to do with. this is just one long, well-planned takeover, it feels like. And is there anyone here from Madison Marquette? That says a lot. They don't give a shit about this place, and I do apologize. Sorry for the language, buddy. If you guys say that art saved Asbury, if you guys say that the gay community saved Asbury, if you guys say that music, the obvious one. Sorry, I went to school for drawing. If you say that art saved it, if you say that music saved it, if you say any of this stuff saved it, the only thing that's ruining Asbury Park is overdevelopment. This is ridiculous. And there's no one here from Madison Marquette for me to direct this to, so I'm just going to say this generally to the room, and I don't mean it, but I yield my time and you.
How do you follow that? Hi. Kristen O'Mara, your neighbor from Ocean Grove, 107.5, Cookman, formerly 2nd Avenue, Asbury. I've only been, I wish I were as eloquent as my predecessor, I've only been a Monmouth County resident for 5 years, but I've been a wannabe since I was 18 when I wandered around hoping to spot Bruce Springsteen and fell in love with Asbury Park, the way it felt magical, edgy, and haunted at the same time, unlike anywhere else. I've often heard people say, keep Asbury Park weird, and I echo that. With so much development happening around us and so much changing in our country, it feels like we're becoming untethered from norms, traditions, laws, and even beloved structures that make a place feel like home, like it's ours. The casino, the convention hall, and the steam plant are symbols of that sense of place. That's part of why I moved here. That's why the idea of a wrecking ball anywhere near the casino feels sinister and incomprehensible, and yet disturbingly in step with the destructive climate we're all living through right now. Your own redevelopment council has said that the language of the 2010 agreement limits the legal options of the city to respond to the breaches of the agreement by Madison Asbury Retail, and that you are deeply disappointed in this pattern of behavior. I understand that you inherited that agreement, but what your constituents need to see is visible action to protect the landmarks that define this city. So I want to ask directly, will you commit publicly to using every tool at your disposal to protect these places?
I'll take the answer on that one. The answer is, that's why there's a resolution on for tonight to give the mayor and council and redevelopment attorney all the tools that we can use to address this demolition proposal.
Thank you. At minimum, I strongly urge you to formally document and reaffirm the historic significance of the casino, carousel, convention hall, steam plant, and all related structures, including the National Register and state level status where applicable. Confirm on the record any state or federal protections or easements that may already apply, and make that information easily accessible to the public. I agree that transparency is really key here, and I love the idea of a public forum. Trigger all applicable local preservation and demolition delay tools before any permit is considered, and if necessary, pursue state-level review or court action under those laws to enforce Madison Asbury Retail's obligations. We're asking you not just to manage a legal agreement, but to safeguard the strange, beautiful, and irreplaceable Asbury Park that people like me fell in love with and chose as home. Please do everything in your power to keep Asbury Park weird.
Thank you.
Hi, Catherine Healy, 305 8th Avenue. First, thank you for the resolution and thank you for your commitment. Here really just to put me and my neighbors' discontent, I'm gonna say Asbury Partners as a whole on record. As we've sat on 8th Avenue and listened to the incessant construction for years, a maddening orchestra of pile drivers and power tools Monday through Saturday, often kicking off before 7 a.m., we're forever reminded that Asbury Partners, or whatever they're rebranded as now, get things done around the clock when they want to. Or should I say, they move quickly when they're able to rake in fast money. But when it comes to anything community-focused, beautiful, or what the people who live here actually want, it always seems like their hands are tied, doesn't it? Being in Asbury for the past 30 years has been full of heartbreak for countless reasons. But the poorly managed redevelopment of these entities is at the top of the list. We're not just losing national history by allowing the disappearance of so many historical buildings. We're losing the few indoor places we have in the city to gather with our neighbors and loved ones, to have a shared history, to hold something unique and precious. The loss of these buildings embody and symbolize the loss of something so much greater, our voices having any say in the direction of our city and where we invest our care. As an NIH paper on neural architecture explains, historic buildings are not merely physical structures, but are repositories of communal or collective history and memory. When we lose historic buildings, humans experience an erosion of identity. This loss of heritage can lead to a weakened sense of self and cultural pride. There is also economic hardship in losing historical buildings. Damage to heritage sites impacts tourism and traditional crafts, affecting local economies. And lastly, removal of these historical buildings contributes to social instability. Heritage loss can exacerbate social tensions and contribute to a conflict. What a mirror all of this is for the larger societal issues at hand today. I have my photo. This is a photo of my grandmother with her friends on the 4th Avenue beach with Convention Hall being built in the background. This is less than 100 years ago. These buildings are not that old, yet they have been purposefully neglected so badly in the past few decades that they all stand at risk. It's maddening to have such widespread disapproval of companies' practices in our hometown and yet be constantly told there is nothing to do. We all know everyone on this council inherited a bad deal, or deals if we count the 2011 special assessment. So I stand here tonight to say we see you, Madison Marquette. We see you, iStar. And although you've pushed so many of us out of this city, there are still so many of us that care about this city.
Okay, hold on one second. Thank you. Ms. Healy, if you or anybody else in this room or anybody else in this town here's a contractor starting before 8 or working past 5 and do not call the police or the city manager, you're doing us all a disservice. I cannot ride the streets all day and all night looking for it, but if you live there and you hear this, let us know and it will be stopped immediately. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Kay Harris, 7 Cornell Avenue, Neptune. I'm sorry. But I did grow up in Asbury Park, graduated from Asbury Park High School, but as an adult, I could not afford to come back to Asbury Park, so that's why I'm in Neptune. I'm also the president of the Asbury Park Historical Society and the Asbury Park Museum, and I would be remiss if we did not take a stance on what is happening to our city. And even though I'm a tenant of Madison Marquette, I'm very, very disappointed they have actually allowed our structures to deteriorate the way they have, such that they're in a place that they want to actually demolish it. When I started my business on the boardwalk in 2005, that's like 20 years ago, I was imagining, wow, 20 years from now, we're really going to be doing, that's when they had the ribbon cutting on the boardwalk. Asbury Park is back and ready to move forward. And if anything, we seem to be moving in the wrong direction. And even with respect to the development and the gentrification that's taking place, one of the concerns I have about this project, I notice it's 2 bedrooms. Why aren't there 3 bedrooms? Where is there housing for families so that they can populate the schools again? So to me, you can tell the kind of market that they are targeting at this point. And I think we really have enough of those. I applaud the people who spoke before me, where we need development for regular working class people and families to grow as it was when I came up. And with respect to the breezeway, it's unfortunate the convention, the casino itself should not have been demolished. I know the roof was falling in, but all those facets, in fact, I have pictures of all of the brickwork that was taken off and supposedly restored. So what about that? What are the plans? If they're planning on taking down the breezeway, what are they planning to replace it with? Is it going to be open? There's so much we really need to know in terms of a conversation of what their vision is. And there's so much in terms of even the casino, and there's so many opportunities for what can happen in this place, but I think we just don't know enough about what their plans are. And we definitely need to continue to advocate for the restoration and retaining the few historic places that we have, inclusive of the Paramount. And even though it seems like they're going to be moving forward the Paramount, I'm also extremely concerned about the Convention Hall. And it's such a value, it's a jewel of Asbury Park, and we can't afford to let more years go by. Next thing you know, that'll start to crumble. Then they'll want to take that down too because, oh, it's too expensive to renovate. So that's all I have to say. 5 seconds left.
Thank you.
Hi, Jameson Miller, 400 Deal Lake Drive. I don't want to just hammer in everything else that was said before me. I appreciate the resolution that you all are putting together. I urge you to use every tool at your disposal to keep the casino. I've been here since 2012, and used to be one of my neighbors, actually. It's tough. I try to show up enough times. I don't ever get up here. It's tough to see the lack of a need for high-end condos in this city. And I feel like every time I come here, we have another presentation. You guys did a great job and everything, but it's another presentation of more high-end condos. And like Kay said, there's no family units being built. There's always just development. And it seems like it's Ocean Ave, Kingsley, Cookman. There's not much about redevelopment of the West Side, and there's nothing to take in families. It is stressful to see what direction we are headed. And I don't understand what the limit is on how many high-end condos that we can be putting in over the course of a 5-year period. And that really is disheartening to me, living in a building that's going to be 100 this coming year. Seeing all that is brought to this community and only seeing these kind of cookie cutter things that are going in and being proposed almost every time I'm here. So I just wanted to comment on that. And but first and foremost, keep all of our historical structures, specifically on the boardwalk, the carousel, the steam plant, the casino, convention hall. The willful neglect of Madison and what's going on is just very disheartening, and you can tell it is to everyone in this room. So thank you.
Thank you.
How are you tonight? Richard H. Ritranda from Bradley Beach. The city manager, I'd like to ask you $1 million question. The state, can I talk?
Yeah.
The state funds what's about to go towards the Paramount Theater. Now, be honest, that money is in hands of Madison Marquette or the city of Asbury Park?
Mr. Vitrano, finish all your questions.
Oh, okay.
We'll answer.
All right. Let's hope the state money that the city received for the renovation of the Paramount Theater and part of the convention hall do not go in the hands of Madison Marquette, because I don't trust them one bit. They are evil people.
Is that all your questions?
Yes.
Okay. No, the money is not in Madison Marquette's hands. The money is given to the city of Asbury Park, and then the city decides. We look at what they say they spend it on, and if it fits the criteria, then we reimburse them. If it doesn't, they don't get paid, and they're well aware of that. And yes, the money's going into right now to try to fix the exterior of the Paramount to keep the elements out.
Right, on the north end of the boardwalk, if you come from the Asbury
Mr. Vitrano, you told me that was all your questions.
Oh, one more. If you're coming from the north end heading south, if you look up at the Paramount Theater, they got nets holding the concrete from not falling. And the one side looks in really bad shape. You know,
You're absolutely correct.
I hope they can fix it. And I saw in the paper last week in the COSA that they're gonna start doing that.
We have bi-weekly meetings, and so far, so good. And if it goes off the tracks, we can always send the money back to Trenton.
Oh, okay.
If they don't get it.
Thank you. And let's hope the state will take over Convention Hall and fix it.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to me.
Okay, thank you.
Good evening. My name is Kevin Strickland. I'm at 1109 2nd Avenue, and I'm here to lighten up the subject matter a little bit. So I'm here to talk about Little League Baseball and the fact that we're going to have a pancake breakfast to raise funds for the Little League of Asbury Park that's been here since 1955. And I want to extend a personal invitation, and they usually show up anyway without this, the mayor and council to come, and anybody in this room that would like to come and have a couple of flapjacks and support the kids of Asbury Park, I'd invite you as well. It's going to be on Saturday from 9 to 12 at the Salvation Army building at 605 Asbury Avenue. All right? I do have a second piece of good news, and that is that the U.S. Soccer Foundation has funded and approved a soccer pitch to be built behind the high school. So we're working with the school district and the U.S. Soccer Foundation to build a soccer pitch for the Asbury Park kids in another sport to support the kids of Asbury Park. And as a component of that, we're looking for support from the city to come together with the school district to put this dance floor to work. So we have some meetings set up to follow up on that. But anyway, I just wanted to make that formal announcement. I did the same thing at the board meeting when we had the board meeting there last week. Thank you very much.
Hi, my name is Spencer.
Hold on 1 second, please.
Oops, sorry.
Kevin, myself, and I'm sure the entire council and probably 90% of the people in this room want to thank you for all you do, not only just for Little League, but being Santa Claus every year.
Convention Hall brought into question whether it was going to be there or not, because my chair sits in that building.
Okay. But again, thank you for all you do.
Hi, my name is Spencer Pellis. I'm at 1018 Fifth Avenue. I think if there's one thing I've been heard echoed is that we need more discussion and just need to know what's going on, because I'm happy that there's things in place that are trying to protect the breezeway, but it's also been a very long time. And even though there's obviously some misinformation floating around and this and that, whatever, I think the general fear is very justified that it's first the breezeway, then the casino, then Convention Hall. And it's just Madison Marquette, oh, woe is me, how could this have happened? Like, we all know what's happening. We have $1 billion developer that can just wait it out until all the locals die at this point, and then they can do whatever they want with it. And it's really concerning. I want to see more Little League groups. I want to see more families and history of Asbury Park stay. I don't need to see new development with fake copper roofing to help emulate what was once there. So just please keep that in mind with your decisions moving forward. Thank you.
I thank you, and I'm going to correct you on one thing. I don't think I'm going to get myself in trouble, and if I do, oh well. They're not a $1 billion corporation. They're a $7.5 billion corporation.
Hi, I'm Gabriela Cuccinata. I live at 209 6th Avenue. I basically agree with everything that was said today about the preserving historic buildings. I did sort of come as a member of the Shade Tree Commission, and regarding the development that was planned today or was presented today, I just wanted to ask you to consider where there's an opportunity to make the sidewalks a little bit narrower. Where I live on 6th Avenue, 7th Avenue, 8th Avenue, there was a decision made to put 7-foot sidewalks. There are now 6-foot sidewalks, and replace all of the 6-foot or 7-foot aprons with concrete pavers. Where we've been asked to get grants to reduce the heat island in Asbury Park, and at the same time, we are creating more and more and more heat islands. There are things that can be done that will not destroy the vision that is in the redevelopment plan. We can have 5.5-foot sidewalks that exist most places. When I think of what was built at Toll Brothers, I think there's like a 20-foot sidewalk. That could all have been green space. That could have all been plantings. There is actually no reason not to have wider aprons. We're giving these poor trees this little 4-foot section to grow, and we don't need 7-foot sidewalks, especially where I live. There are people walking their dogs in the winter, and even in the summertime, people with families, they can go 3x3. They don't have to go 4x4. And so I know there are people here from the planning board. I'm asking you where you can make adjustments, where you can make aprons wider, where you can keep the aprons green, please do it. Where you can give the trees a little bit more opportunity to actually survive. We've just done a tree inventory. We're going to present it to you tomorrow. And in that, we found that most of the trees in Asbury Park are struggling, and especially close to the beachfront. And when you give a tree, it's terrible what they've done on Cookman Avenue in front of those townhouses. Those trees they put this gigantic sidewalk. So please take that into consideration. Please reduce the heat island, allow trees to survive, and that's basically what I'm asking.
Thank you.
Good evening. Regine Flimlin, 506 8th Avenue. My husband Enrique and I are here. We got married here over 20 years ago. We're big taxpayers with regards to our home. The taxes are through the roof. Not quite sure how much longer we can stay, actually. I moved out of Montclair and came to Asbury Park because my taxes in Montclair, where I raised my children, were so high. And when we purchased in Asbury Park, we said, well, we'll need residual income just in case they get astronomical. And they are astronomical. And thank God for the residual income, because I have lost my neighbors on the left, the right, across the street. They're all gone. They couldn't afford it. That's what taxes. With regards to the development that was proposed tonight and the sustainability aspect of it, it was said when you can or when you're able to from the architect. What does that mean? I asked the architect.
So when it's feasible to do
Yeah,
so?
what does that mean?
So when it becomes feasible to actually do that. So we're at this point in the approvals process. We're not going through each and every item that
Right.
can be documented in that way. When we come to permit drawings, which the city gets to look at and make sure that we're conforming with the approvals that we achieved, they'll be going through and making sure that we hit those markers. And in the checklist that we have to provide to the city, it more in depth looks at what different items we are doing. We're just saying that when it is feasible to do so, we're not doing it all the time, but
Right.
we are hitting that LEED Silver credential that is
But you're not
required
looking
by
for
the plan.
certification on LEED Silver,
We are
is what
not
you said.
seeking certification.
Right, so why wouldn't you seek certification?
That is a very lengthy process, but we're hitting the targets, and
Got
we're
it.
going to be doing a checklist that will be done by a certified professional that hits those markers.
Excellent. So then with regards to Madison Marquette, Boardwalk, beautiful convention hall, where they took off all of the beautiful wrapping years ago, and it was lost, and nothing happened there. And as I go through Convention Hall now, I peek into where, they used to do the roller skating and stuff, and it's all boarded off. And I've noticed beautiful lamps and beautiful architectural pieces coming down. And I've asked, is that going to auction? Is that going into storage? We'll take care of it. So when the city says we've got our eye on it and we're watching piece by piece what they're doing, is there actually somebody in the city that represents the community's interests with regards to what Madison Marquette says they're doing on these structures? Like, do we have?
Okay, I'm going to give you a couple more seconds.
Yeah,
to
that's
ask a
pretty
couple
much
more
it.
questions.
That's pretty much it. I just want to know, like, how we can be more proactive, because I remember Tom Pavinsky, my neighbor, 8 years ago,
He just
coming up.
walked in.
Oh, Tom, hey, he walked up here 8 years ago and said, I imagine they're gonna take down the casino one of these days, and everybody was like aghast, like, oh, that'll never happen. And here we are today. So what I'm saying is, it seems like we're not proactive. We're always catching up to what they're doing. We don't seem to have our eye on it the way in detail that we might like, or might be to our community interest. That's all.
Yes, SHPO and the state are in charge of making sure anything in Convention Hall that is historic is preserved.
SHPO?
Yeah, State Historical Preservation
okay.
Office.
Thank you.
State Historic Preservation.
Okay.
And I assume I can say this, or Joe can say, you know, this isn't, this relationship hasn't, Joe, we've held them in default. Well, I'm at a loss.
Yeah,
So can you just say that we've held them in default? I'm saying this has been an adversarial relationship. Is that a,
Yes,
or,
I'll stand here.
I'm not gonna say any more.
I'm Joe Marizzi. I have the honor of being Special Redevelopment Counsel in the waterfront area of the city of Homer. And the deputy mayor is exactly right. We have an ongoing adversarial relationship with Madison Asbury Retail. Thank you. Madison Asbury Retail. To be distinguished from iStar, formerly Starfield. Two different entities. Madison Asbury Retail has control of all the assets along the boardwalk, pavilions, the golf course, the water park, the convention hall, complex, the arcade, Paramount Theater, the casino, breezeway, and all of that. And those assets were transferred by the city in 2002, actually, to Asbury Partners. And then in 2010, the city at that time entered into a subsequent developers agreement with Madison Asbury Retail, a subsidiary of Madison Marquette, to transfer all the so-called retail assets, those along the boardwalk, pavilions, and so on, to Madison Asbury Retail. Under provisions in that agreement that have been referred to, that were negotiated back in 2010, when the negotiating leverage of the city was different than it is today, and the document somewhat reflects that. So we have been in constant struggles with Madison Asbury Retail and the parent company to hold their feet to the fire. And over time, we have issued a number of notices of default, and one of them in particular dealing with the failure to proceed with the next steps with respect to the breezeway. We did that in 2023. And prior to that, there were a series of notices of default that related to the convention center complex. We have been engaged in negotiations with respect to the grant that was referred to earlier to provide some of the funding for the security of the exterior, as the mayor said, of Paramount Theater. It's been a struggle to get to the agreement to transfer on a very strict basis funding after they do the work. The understanding is that we will have an agreement with Madison Asbury Retail, which we're struggling to negotiate, that will provide an identification of what exactly they're going to be doing on Paramount Theater to secure the structural integrity of that building, and also provides the water cover. Those improvements will be made at the expense of Madison Asbury Retail, and they will be reimbursed only once an inspection is made by the city engineer to verify that those particular improvements have been made as they are made. And that is something that we hope we will have before the council at the next meeting. That's the promise we have from Madison Asbury Retail with respect to Paramount Theater. And we are, as the deputy mayor said, it's an adversarial position, even to get to the point of negotiating an agreement that provides a grant to this entity. So it's a struggle, and it's something that we spend a lot of time behind the scenes, worrying and working on, and it is something that we take very seriously. I spent my teenage years in Asbury Park during the summertime, and it means a lot to me. These facilities mean a great deal.
Thank you.
Hello, this is Frank Cucinato, 209 6th Avenue. A couple questions. One is, I hear this term default being thrown around all the time. And what do we mean default? Are they being penalized? Are they being fined? Or just throwing a letter at them saying, oh, you're in default, you're in default, you're in default? What are the consequences of the default? If we go through a red light, we get a ticket. We have to pay a fine. If we don't pay the fine, we go to jail. I mean, what are the consequences to hold Madison Marquette's feet to the fire? So that's the first question. The second question is, we hear this thing about the 2002 plan. It's a 30-year plan. What happens in 2032? Can we say goodbye to Madison Marquette? What happens then? So there are my two questions.
Is it not work? Can you not hear me? Can you hear me? You couldn't hear me before? Those are very good questions, and the issue about what happens with a notice of default is it is a prelude to a lawsuit. That's a very big step for this community to take. It's something we are constantly looking at and looking for the best basis for a basis to do that. A lawsuit can get you into a situation of unintended consequences and be long and expensive and not provide an immediate result. Your second question, please remind me of your second question.
Was what happens in 2032?
Well, what happens in 2032 with Madison Marquette, Madison Asbury Retail? They own these buildings. This is private property. They own these buildings. So we have a limited period of time to make sure that they do not cause demolition by neglect of these buildings. So that is one of the consequences of the decision that was made in 2002 to transfer ownership of these facilities to a private entity. There is, as has been mentioned, the SHPO easement, State Historic Preservation Office. It's a division of NJDEP, and there is an easement that requires preservation of the Convention Hall complex. It does not apply to the breezeway, the casino, the carousel buildings. It only applies to the Convention Hall complex, which is on both the state and national register of historic sites. So we have attempted to engage the SHPO entity to take some leadership here and step forward. We've had meetings with them. They are in a position of, I should tell you something else that's happening, and that is that Madison Asbury Retail is seeking historic tax credits. No, you should, no, that's something that we hope they get. Let me tell you why. And combined with a new program instituted by the Murphy administration under what's called the CAFE program, a new program. EDA manages it. The Cultural Arts Facility Expansion Program, CAFE, and they're looking to get tax credits there as well. Hopefully they succeed, because if they do, they will have a fund of multi-million dollars to do what needs to be done to these facilities. They have indicated that they have big plans, and there's been sometimes, this has been in the newspaper, that they have big plans to transform these facilities, the convention hall complex. Keep saying complex, that includes the arcade, Paramount Theater, and convention hall itself. At one point, they're telling us, I don't know if this is still the case, that it would also apply to Carousel Breezeway area, to transfer it to a music venue, destination venue for the Northeast. This is the promise that hasn't been kept yet, but they are on the verge of knowing yes or no about these applications. And if they do get that, that would obviate the need for the city to take the steps that would normally be taken with respect to a notice of default. And we have to be mindful of those other bigger issues that are going on.
Thanks, Joe.
Hi, I'm Celia Morissette. My husband Keith Johnson and I have a property at 614 6th Avenue and 1410 Bond. In regards to the liability and maintaining one's properties, our neighbor was at 612 6th Avenue, Roger Hall. Unfortunately, he's passed away and is no longer with us. He was in a situation where he could not maintain his home, and it was in horrible disrepair. As such, in maybe 2016, 2017, his home was condemned by the city of Asbury. They threatened to take possession of his home because he didn't have the wherewithal to upgrade it, keep it going. So if that's the case, why is the city not able to also have legal ability to take possession of the buildings that are also in disrepair? If they could do it to a taxpayer, my neighbor, why aren't we able to do it to other entities?
So condemnation that word is used two different ways in public law. One is when you condemn a building because it's unsafe and it needs to be repaired or condemned or taken down. And I think that's what you're describing. And that's a different process than the way condemnation is often talked about in other contexts in terms of condemning these facilities and acquiring them. That's a very complicated process. That requires appraising the value of the properties, attempting to negotiate with the property owner. I'm speaking generically now, I'm not speaking about these particular facilities, but that type of condemnation requires that the city compensate the property owner. Remember, I said this is private property, so it's a question of determining whether the city has the financial wherewithal to do that.
But if they were able to threaten my neighbor and
Well,
threaten them with possession of it, why are we not
that
able to-
condemnation that you're talking about with your neighbor leads to demolition. That's and we don't want that. We don't want that kind of condemnation.
That's true.
Hello, I'm Joe Meany. I'm from 1000 3rd Avenue, apartment 311. I'm definitely not for public speaking, but let me toss some things at you. This section of the boardwalk is called the Waterfront Boardwalk Area. Is that allowed to have housing? Because that's what Madison Marquette wants, is condos. Is that zoned to never have housing? I don't know. So that's one thing. The other is that the board or planning committee in, let's see, January 31st of 2024 talked about green spaces and maintaining those for the city for recreation. That is definitely not happening. What else? The repair of the casino building, breezeway, whatever you want to call it, is not rocket science. When there's a bad beam or something in my house, they sistered it. They put another beam alongside of it. There is no reason that they can't put iron structures that are right next to the other ones that can hold it up. Pennies for them, and they certainly can do it. So there's no reason not to. If they do get to build there, press hard that they can't move closer to the ocean, because you have to leave a little piece of the building to make sure you did not, GPS does not matter. Piece of the building must stay. So that way you prove you didn't get closer. Now the problem is, now they're in the flood zone and all the other things, and that may prevent them from building there, which is what we want to do. We want to push that at them because they're a higher floodplain than the other ones, and their insurance would be astronomical. As for this building with copper-like things, it'll never have a patina. Why would you do that? If you want to be like the carousel, put something that gets a patina. Don't put in like plastic copper. I don't see that. What else? Let's see. The other thing people have said over and over and over is that we have to keep buildings up to code. Is that negated by your agreement? Because in 2023 of May, they closed the walkthrough. So they knew it was hazardous, but they did not keep it up to code. Did they paint a truss? No. See, if they spent a penny since then, except putting up the stanchions to stop you from going through, they knew it was not safe, and they made no corrections to the situation. I bet they spent nothing. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anybody else like to be heard about this? The presentation?
Can I make an announcement, or my time is
No.
up? I can't get up again?
No.
Do a second time?
No.
Can I just ask one question?
No.
Do they own the stone pony?
What?
Do they own the stone pony too?
Yes.
That's why it's planned to move there? So condos would go up with the stone pony?
There's no, that's like what somebody said before, there's so many rumors going around. I don't know where you heard that, we've never heard that.
Isn't it on the website?
Yes.
It's on the Asbury Park website?
Yeah, it's on the website.
There's like a concept art of what it looks like? It's like going over the ocean.
If it is, it's the news to me, and we've had no indication that anybody's gonna be building on the Stone Pony, Summer Stage Butters, knocking down the Stone Pony.
But it is on the website.
It is.
The summer stage rendering is on the website.
Okay, that's, if any cross conversations, please take outside, again.
Hi, I'm Caitlin Nasher. I live at 610 Sewell Avenue in Asbury Park. I just want to address the comment about lawsuits having unintended consequences. I'm sure we all understand that. We respect that you have tried to avoid that route this far, but at this point, inaction has very serious consequences as well. And so I would just urge you to do absolutely everything in your power to protect these buildings while they're still standing. Thank you.
Thank you. Seeing nobody else, I'll make a motion to close.
Move it. Second.
All in favor? Public participation is now closed. We're now on to the minutes.
No,
Oh.
Anthony.
Sorry.
Hold on, okay, look, we closed it, we're gonna reopen it for you, nope, we're gonna reopen it for you, then it's gonna be closed.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Move to reopen.
Kat Vanderwend,
All in favor?
404
Aye.
Fifth Avenue, Asbury Park. I have, I guess, been hanging around Asbury Park as long as Madison Marquette has, because I started taking the train for basement shows in 2002 when I was 14. But I'm here specifically as a private resident, and I wanted to look into the possibility of looking into how far have we gotten into looking into designating the Carousel Building as a historic landmark, because it is not designated as a historic landmark, but it does have a certificate of eligibility, which means it can become a historic landmark. And one question that was kind of answered before, but not entirely answered before, was what happens after 2032. We know there's nothing we can do in some capacities until 2032, but, you know, there are all sorts of delay tactics, and some of them have to do with preservation. So I would want to know, what have we done as a city to designate the Carousel Building, the casino, and the Breezeway as a historic landmark, and can we continue looking into that in the meantime? And then I would really like to know what happens, not up until 2032, but after 2032.
I can't speak to the issues regarding the listing of the sites, but I can say something about after 2032 with respect to Madison Asbury Retail. They will still be bound by the SHPO easement, State House Preservation Office easement, which is enforceable in terms of the issues of preservation with respect to Convention Hall and Paramount Theater and the arcade.
Okay. Go to the meeting.
Do we move to close?
Yeah, move to
Move to
close.
close.
Second. We're going.
All in favor?
Aye. Number one, thank the presentation. No, the meeting's closed now because we closed it once and we reopened it, so we can't do this all night long without, like, probably me getting sued, so. Look, if everybody wants to stay for the meeting and everything we're gonna vote on, fine. If everybody wants to, if we wanna take a 2-minute break, so you don't wanna stay, you can leave, that's fine also. I wanna give you that opportunity so you're not stuck here, but if you wanna stay, no problem. Thank you.
You came on a good night, or not? All right.
Less,
Got it.
but yes.
I don't. Yes.
What to do? Should get a Superior Court judge what the Superior Court
Good work,
I'm gonna ask that you take your conversations outside, please.
No.
Thank you for listening to me.
Okay.
Thank you.
And God bless you, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming.
Good night.
Good night. Are you gonna write about it? Want the resolution, or do you have it?
He has it. Yes, they were on the tape.
Oh, you have it. You have it. No, the resolution.
Oh, they were on the
The
table.
agenda. The agenda was on.
The agenda.
Oh, the agenda.
We'll take it. I'm
It'll
gonna
be
vote
on.
yes, so we'll take it.
I wasn't counting you. Take your conversations outside, please, so we have other pressing business. Clear the room.
You should have stood up and asked for volunteers for Code Blue, because you had a full room, Kim.
Walk down the street 2 blocks and vote.
Yeah. You should have been asking for volunteers. I should have texted you.
That's good.
Go, Anthony.
We are now on to the minutes. I have the executive and regular meeting minutes from January 14th, 2026. Do I have a motion?
Move it. Second.
Councilmember Bez Anderson?
Yes.
Councilmember Clayton?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Quinn?
Yes.
Mayor Moore?
Yes.
We are now on to the consent agenda resolutions. All matters listed on the consent agenda are presented collectively to the City Council and will be considered for approval with one vote. These matters are considered to be routine in nature and will be no individual discussion of these items. If discussion is desired by one or more council members, then said item shall be removed from the consent agenda and considered separately. On consent tonight, we have resolutions 2026-79 through 2026-99 with an appointment to the Planning Board of Bob Zuckerman, and an appointment to the Business Advisory Committee of Matthew Whalen and Jamie Kelly. Do I have a motion?
Move it.
Second.
Councilmember Bez Anderson?
Yes.
Councilmember Clayton?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Quinn?
Yes.
Mayor Moore?
Yes.
Moving on to individual resolutions, I have Resolution 2026-55, resolution approving change order number 6, and request to exceed 20% change order threshold for the Asbury Park bathroom boardwalk restroom project.
Move it.
Second.
Councilmember Bez Anderson?
Yes.
Councilmember Clayton?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Quinn?
Yes.
Mayor Moore?
Yes, and this was reworded.
Yes, to
Yes, thank you.
no extension, yes. Resolution 2026-100, resolution authorizing payment of bills.
Move it.
Second.
Councilmember Bez Anderson?
Yes.
Councilmember Clayton?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Quinn?
Yes.
Mayor Moore?
Yes.
Resolution 2026-101, resolution authorizing the County of Monmouth Mosquito Control Division to conduct aerial mosquito control operations within the city of Asbury Park.
Move it.
Second.
Councilmember Bez Anderson?
Yes.
Councilmember Clayton?
No.
Deputy Mayor Quinn?
Yes.
Mayor Moore?
Yes.
Resolution 2026-102, resolution authorizing uniform shared services agreement between the city of Asbury Park and the Monmouth Ocean Police Athletic League to provide space within 9 Main Street, Asbury Park, New Jersey, for recreation and community programs.
Move it.
Second.
Councilmember Bez Anderson?
Yes.
Councilmember Clayton?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Quinn?
Yes.
Mayor Moore?
Yes.
Resolution 2026-103, resolution authorizing appointment to the Mayor's Wellness Committee. The appointee is Karen Moskowitz.
Move it.
Second.
Councilmember Bez Anderson?
Yes.
Councilmember Clayton?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Quinn?
Yes.
Mayor Moore?
Yes.
Resolution 2026-104, resolution authorizing appointment to the Housing Authority. The appointee is David Nestor.
Move it. Second.
Councilmember Bez Anderson?
Yes.
Councilmember Clayton?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Quinn?
Yes.
Mayor Moore?
Yes.
Resolution 2026-105, resolution of the Mayor and City Council of the City of Asbury Park authorizing Special Redevelopment Council to issue updated and/or additional notices of default to Mazin Asbury Retail LLC with specific regard to the casino building for failure to meet its obligations under the subsequent developer agreement between the City of Asbury Park, Mazin Asbury Retail LLC, and Asbury Partners LLC dated June 1st, 2010.
Move it.
Second.
Councilmember Bez Anderson?
Yes.
Councilmember Clayton?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Quinn?
Yes.
Mayor Moore?
Yes.
We're now on to ordinance for introduction. I have ordinance 2026-1. Ordinance of the City of Asbury Park adding a new section 3-40 to the city code to be entitled E-Mobility Devices and Lithium-Ion Batteries with a public hearing date of February 11th, 2026.
Move it.
Second.
Move it.
Yes. Councilmember Bez Anderson?
Yes.
Councilmember Clayton?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Quinn?
Yes.
Mayor Moore?
Yes.
Ordinance 2026-2, ordinance amending the Main Street redevelopment plan with a public hearing date of February 11th, 2026.
Move it.
Second.
Councilmember Bez Anderson?
Yes.
Councilmember Clayton?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Quinn?
Yes.
Mayor Moore?
Yes.
If that is all for tonight, do I have a motion to adjourn?
Move it.
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Have a good night, everyone.
You too.